Hello, my name is Sarah Sloan, and you are listening to The Sarah Sloan Show. I don't know if it's cold where you are, but it's cold where I am, and it's raining like crazy, and it's getting on my nerves. Now let's get on to the news. New Hampshire, just happened. Iowa just happened. The elections there, the primaries and all that, and Trump is dominating. I am so happy to see that this is happening. It's so gratifying to see your baby Trump win. Now, I think since we last spoke, Vivek left the race after Iowa. He did very poorly there. And then also DeSantis, he did not continue on as well. Now, Vivek, DeSantis, they both ended up endorsing Trump. And I'm glad to see it. A lot of people are endorsing Trump, and they're right to do so. It's just how things are working out. So, yeah, I was just saying New Hampshire, let's see. Looks like, let's see what the latest thing is. Of course, numbers always change, so don't hold me to this. Okay, obviously Trump won, so he got 53% of the state on the Republican side. Nikki Haley got 45.8%. And then after that, it's just, nothing. So 69,951 votes for Trump, 60,383 for Nikki. So pretty good difference there. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's not that much of a difference. Well, first of all, it was really two candidates left that are running. And then also, Nikki Haley, she put everything into New Hampshire. The governor, he's a Republican governor. His name is Sununu. That name. I can't decide if I like it or if I hate it. I don't know. Sununu. It's an interesting name. They were fully in conjunction with one another, Nikki Haley and him. And if she was going to win any state, it was going to be this one. Even, pollsters and everyone are predicting that she's not going to have much success in her own home state, South Carolina. So that's pretty interesting. Not great news for her. She should have won this. She should have won New Hampshire, and she still didn't. Trump still won. Now, once again, it's just her and Trump that are running together. And what she's saying, she is saying that you need to be bold enough to debate me. Well, why would he? If he doesn't have to. I kind of wonder if there's going to be no more debates in general for the presidential election. I kind of don't think there will be. And I'm talking past whenever Trump is obviously going to win on the Republican side and then Biden comes on in. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be any more debates going on. Yeah. Keep Nikki in your prayers. Now, once whatever his face is, once DeSantis left, Haley was reacting, and she said one of the lines that, I think has just kind of irritated me from the beginning with her. If you guess, a lot of this episode is going to be a lot about Nikki Haley, because I want her out. There, I said it. If you couldn't tell. Shocker. Okay, so yeah, she said the following.
Wait until the last second. And what the people of New Hampshire should know is when we win the presidency in this country, I will do everything I can to prove to you that you made the right decision. But for now, I'll leave you with this. May the best woman win.
Okay, so I remember I was in, gosh, I think it was fifth grade, and we had, it was one of my science classes, and the teacher was so fun. And for whatever reason, this was just like one of the fun activities he did for us. We were having like a class president just within the classroom. And this very popular guy was running for president, and then I ran against him. And we had to do just like little speeches, and he was just like, I'm cool, blah blah blah. And then I just get up and I'm like lying about stupid stuff, like, oh, if you vote for me, I'll get you this, I'll get you that. And then I lean into the whole, and we don't have enough women leaders, we need more women, blah blah blah. And I end up winning, this little fifth grade election. And so, but I was in fifth grade. Why is Nikki still doing this is my question. I don't think we need to do this anymore, Nikki. Quit mentioning the fact that you're a woman. If you are just as good as all the other men, quit pointing out your differences. If you want to be treated the same, quit pointing out your differences. Just blend on in, baby. The water feels fine. Or does it? You gotta test that out yourself. So yes, that got me whenever she said that. And then I'm gonna be all over the place, so bear with me on this. She has a tendency, Nikki does, after losing, because I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter if you did pretty good compared to where you were. She keeps on saying, this was a 14-person race, and I'm in the top 2. That's pretty good, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. So she'll lose, and then she'll do these speeches as if she won. And you're like, what is going on? I couldn't even find it, but there was another. I was looking everywhere for it. I wonder if someone scrubbed it or something. But she did this interview, and then she was like, listen, I know I'm going to be president, and when I'm right, I'll have to tell you guys. I'll have to tell you I told you so. It was something like that. It was so crazy. She had such confidence, and she keeps on having such confidence in these speeches where she lost, but she sounds like she won. That I'm like, dang, does she know something I don't know? Like, is she going to be like president or something? Like, what's going on? So here's her next one.
What a great night. God is so good all the time. Thank you, New Hampshire, for the love, the kindness, the support, and a great night here.
Oh, man. She just lost. Now, listen, whenever trials, tribulations come, it is most important to thank God for his goodness. Now, you could twist this and say, yeah, God is good all the time, and he was to make sure that she lost. I don't think it took a lot of heavy lifting from the Lord to make sure she lost. People don't want her. I don't know. I've never talked to anybody that is a true supporter of Nikki Haley. I know several people, myself included, that are very, very adamant supporters of Trump. I know a lot of those people. I know a lot of people that they really had wanted DeSantis. I know some people that were very interested in Vivek. I don't think they ever thought that it was actually going to happen for him, but they found him to be extremely interesting. Never have met a Christie supporter. Biden, I don't know anyone that's a supporter of Biden, but usually with Biden, it's just really an anti-Trump vote. So, but gosh, no one for Nikki. But she did pretty good in New Hampshire. Just not good enough, sweetie. Yeah, I'm gonna do that from here on out. If I lose something, a competition or whatever, I'm gonna be like, God is good. Yes, he is. He is, Now, Nikki has also kind of gone back and forth on, well, are you endorsing Trump? Do you think he's good? Do you think he's bad? Like, obviously, he's a competition. So I fully understand that she's not going to just be like, yes, Trump for president, because she's literally running for president. I'm not stupid. But you got to get your message clear. Okay, you'll vote for whoever wins to become the Republican nominee. Okay, that makes sense to me. You know, Trump is better than Biden ultimately. So, yeah, you got to support Trump because do you really want Biden again? No, she doesn't say that. A reporter was asking her, are they equally bad, Biden and Trump? Which is, I think, a very good question.
The right decision when I get elected.
You don't want to go there on whether or not they're equally bad?
I mean, if either one of them was good, I wouldn't be running. Yes, they are equally bad. That's why I'm running. It's because I don't think we need to have Biden or Trump. I don't think we need to have two 80-year-olds sitting in the White House when we've basically got to make sure that we can handle the war situation that we're in. We need to know they're at the top of their game. We need to know that they can take care of our national security and our economy. Right now, I don't know that people feel like that with either one. So that's why we're giving them a choice.
Man, you heard it right there. They are equally bad. Nikki, are you serious? Like, obviously, yes, you're running because you feel like you're filling a void that's there. You are different than Trump. We know that there's differences there. But to say that Trump and Biden are equally bad, that is a really, really strong statement. Like, there's some people that I don't like in my life that, you know, I think are kind of annoying or whatever. Well, Sarah, yeah, say it's I don't think I know a Patricia. I don't know a Patricia. Patricia, she slapped me in the face and won't speak to me again. You know, obviously that's pretty bad. Hey, Sarah, you tell me, Patricia, Adolf Hitler, are they equally bad? Well, in my mind, I don't like Patricia. Now, other people may like Patricia, and she's wonderful to them, but for me, she hasn't been great. Adolf Hitler, he was pretty bad last time I checked. Pretty bad. Now, I guess he didn't hurt me directly, but for me to say that they're equally bad, Patricia and Adolf Hitler, that's pretty extreme. Like, I know Trump has made some digs at her. He said some things against Nikki. Why am I messing up her name so much? I don't know what's going on with me. I know that he's made some political digs, but this is another level. And she says it with just such a straight face. She's full of it. She's full of it. Why am I freaking out so much? If she's obviously going to lose. She said it in another interview. I've been listening to interviews of her just nonstop for the last couple of hours. And she said, no, we're really serious about this race because we just spent another $4 million on ads in Arkansas. She said something along those lines. That is why she needs to get out. All of the money she is just taking up for nothing. For nothing. So many races, it's so sad. It's two people that are usually better than the alternative. Because she is. We have to admit that. She's better than Biden. At least I'm big enough to admit it. And obviously I love Trump. But they're just spending all this money trying to beat each other when we have another opponent that really does need to be beat. And it's not like he's great or anything, or he's like super dynamic on camera and super persuasive and people adore him and love him, but he's got the media on his side. He's got a lot of power. He's currently in the White House. He's an incumbent. That's hard. And her continuing to stay in this race, it's hurting the Republican Party, which she claims to care about. It's hurting this country, which she claims to care about. Obviously, Trump is going to win. So stop spending all this money, time, and effort. Let it be Trump's. It's just you and him now. Get out. Asa Hutchinson, the former governor of Arkansas, because now it's Sarah Huckabee Sanders, he he endorsed her. That's not a good endorsement. You don't want someone like that endorsing you. Yeah, looking at who's endorsing you is important. Now, like I said, there's some exceptions. There, Senator Cornyn from Texas, not Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is also both Texas. Yeah, I just thought about this. Both senators from Texas are endorsing Trump. Now, if you know anything about Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, one is great, one is not. Cornyn is absolutely terrible. He's such a rhino. He's just there's no point in him being there. He does no good. Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. I don't understand why he's still a senator. But he endorsed Trump. And so, obviously, he's not a great person that's endorsing Trump, but Trump has so many other good endorsements that it really speaks well for him. Christie, Asa Hutchinson, they're endorsing Nikki. Okay. It's not great. Not great at all. Okay, so it was like a couple days ago, whenever she said the first thing she said about Trump and Biden being equally bad. You know, like a day or two later, she's speaking to the same reporter and the same channel and all that. And she is asked, like, essentially, you know, would you endorse Trump? And she is just dodging and weaving. And yeah, in this clip, you know, for just audio listeners, she's sitting next to this Governor Sununu, from New Hampshire.
You think that conduct makes him fit to be president?
If I did, I wouldn't be running. So the whole
you also
focus,
have pledged to support him and endorse him if you end up not making it.
because I don't ever want to see a President Kamala Harris. That should send a chill up everyone's
So
spine.
you think that President Kamala Harris would be more dangerous than somebody who is alleged to and has been found liable for the conduct that I just described?
What I worry about is the media doesn't think Americans are smart enough to see that. Americans are going to look, do they want someone that's tied up in investigations? No, Biden and Trump are both tied up in investigations. That's why 75% say they don't want to see a Biden-Trump rematch. People don't want to have two candidates in their 80s. People see that they both ran us trillions of dollars in debt that our kids are never going to forgive them for. This is about the fact that people want someone who's going to secure the border, bring down inflation, focus on getting education back on track.
So, essentially, yeah, she'll endorse him. You're going to endorse someone that's as equally bad as Biden? But here's her rationale. Because of his VP. Because of Biden's VP. That is why she is voting for Trump, to avoid the possibility of Kamala Harris becoming president. So, Nikki, if that's the case, what if Kamala Harris wasn't Biden's VP? Then how do you make your choice? They're both equally bad. And of course, she would say, I would rather have Trump than Biden. Of course, gosh, I would hope she'd say that, but she's been struggling to say it. She's contradicting herself at every turn. And like I said, it's not like, because trust me, I understand you're going to change your mind over time. I've changed my mind on so many things over time. I remember I took a political test in high school, and I was pretty moderate, actually. I was a lot more left-leaning than I am today. But in my mind, I was always the strongest Republican, the strongest conservative, because my family was. But then whenever I took that test, I was answering things that, you know, somebody on the left would answer. And that's because I didn't truly know why I was Republican and what those beliefs were. And obviously I still have so much to learn, you know, duh. But I was able to learn so much more. I used to be totally anti-gun. I remember I was even in a debate class, or I was trying to be at least, and I was able to debate guns, and they're like, which side are you on? And I'm like, I'm anti-gun, and I'm debating it, and I just fully believe that, like, guns, we need to eradicate them from the planet and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I had so many beliefs that were totally contradictory, but the reality is, I know now that Republicans believe what they believe because it is good for the country. And I know that people on the left believe what they believe for that reason. I don't know with Nikki. I really don't know. I don't know where she's at. I don't know what she's... I just feel like she's bought and paid for. I really do. And I don't trust her. And, The one thing that was a little concerning to me with Trump was, obviously I don't want anything to happen to him, but, there's just so much hate for him in this world. You just don't know if anything of violence is going to occur. And then, of course, lots of criminal trials happening, all that kind of stuff. And it's scary. You're thinking, is he going to go to jail? And if he goes to jail, can he still be president? And I think there's still a few avenues, for that to work. And I truly believe if God wants him to be president, he's going to be president. But if it wasn't to occur, there needs to be a plan B, a backup here. And it's like, who's that going to be? And then it kind of did almost make me grateful that DeSantis was running, because it's like, yeah, I would love DeSantis to be president if Trump wasn't able to be. But now he's no longer running. And all we got here is Nikki. And I don't really want Nikki. The whole situation is sticky. So yeah, let me say this right now. Legal fees, all that kind of stuff is very expensive. And I know that it's like you got to be careful how you spend campaign money on this or that as far as legal fees go. So you don't want to do anything that's going to break the law. But I will say, Nikki spending millions upon millions of dollars on her own campaign that's going absolutely nowhere. You are throwing your money away, and it's scary. And just because you have personal ambition, just stop. Just stop, Nikki. Just go work for Boeing again. Go fly away on one of the Boeing 737 planes or whatever they're called that are never reliable. So I hope she's listening. I have a feeling she is. But it was kind of funny with Trump, which I'm so happy for him that he's doing well, and he's just winning, and he's still got his charisma. And yeah, they're mentioning like, oh, his memory and blah, 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 and he's misstating things. I will admit, I've seen more videos of him doing that, for sure. I'm not going to deny what I've seen. He was saying Nikki Haley when he meant to say Nancy Pelosi, and he said it over and over and over again. He apparently he's done it with Obama, Clinton, all those kind of names. I will say one thing, of course, not the level of Biden. And so if you're comparing Trump to Biden, Trump is better in that respect. And then also, in my mind, it's still better than Nikki. Trump having a little bit of a mess up with identifying this person or that person is still better. So Trump, he was very grateful for Ron DeSantis endorsing him. And yeah, Ron DeSantis was so, wise to do that. I'm really glad he did. And he said that he's no longer going to call him DeSanctimonious, which was his nickname for Ron DeSantis, which was not one of his best nicknames. Crooked Hillary was like really funny. Sleepy Joe is really funny. He's had a really, really good Lion Ted, although I love Ted Cruz. For whatever reason, it made me laugh whenever he called Ted Cruz Lion Ted because it's just not true. But it's still funny. So here's Trump speaking on that.
Somebody said, what are you going to do with the name DeSanctimonious? I said, that name is officially retired as of this moment. We are retiring that name.
So he's like, yeah, we're done with the name DeSanctimonious. We're not going to be calling him that anymore. I don't know why it got to me. It was just very funny. Very, very funny. And yeah, Trump, if you're like, why are you so passionate about him becoming president? Listen, I believe truly that God can use anybody to bless this country, to make this country better. And I believe he can use the worst of the worst. And Biden is our president, and I fully acknowledge that. And I do pray, from day to day, just like bless Biden, help him to become more like you, because that'd be cool. Like, imagine if Biden was like, who's still like labeled like a Democrat, but he's like doing everything that like I want in his policies. That'd be really cool. Like, why not? And he'd probably like feel better for it, have a clearer head for it. but God can use anybody he wants. God gets to choose, not us. And I remember whenever Trump was first running, I was so upset. It was, back in like 2015. I wanted Ted Cruz. I'm pretty sure I voted for Ted Cruz. And then Trump was just obviously it. And I, at some point I was just like, okay, like he's obviously won for a reason. Let's just trust this. And the more I heard him speak, the more it seemed to make sense. He's a fighter. He's doing what's good. He really does prioritize the people of this country. There was this recent news story. I don't know the exact details, but essentially, I think it was New York and these American school children. They had to stay home, and illegal immigrant school children were brought in and they were being taught inside the schools while the American kids were home. And like that is so what it is. Americans not being put first. And that's just one of many, many examples. And Trump really does want to put Americans first, American citizens first. Because, imagine that happening in any other country. You go to France and, there's a bunch of us like Americans and we're just like illegal immigrants there. And then we get to go in one of the French schools and the French children are having to stay home and do homeschool while we're getting to be in the schools and we're not even citizens. Like, imagine how crazy that would be. Trump is so good for that. And there's biblical examples of God using crazy people as leaders, kings, prophets, everything else. And if God can have that heart of redemption, gosh, so should we. So should we. So I am loyal to Trump. I am excited. I know that he had his first presidency, and I think he did make some mistakes. I also thought he did a lot of really great stuff. I miss gas costing $1.50, for example, but I know that's the most basic thing. A lot less illegal immigration, all kinds of stuff. Less wars going on. But he didn't do all that he needed to do. And I think he just didn't know what he needed to know. And he was listening to some of the wrong voices. And a lot of things were exposed. A lot of people's true feelings about him were brought out into the open. And so I feel like he can only do better from here. And he has this kind of like determination, like, oh, heck no. Yeah, we're going to fix this and this and this because you thought, yeah, I didn't know before, but now I know. Now I know. So it's going to be a little different this time. Hindsight is 2020. Well, guess what? He's going to get to walk into the next presidency with 2020 vision, clear eyes, and that's super cool. And that's very, very exciting for me, at least. So, yeah, I'm watching this. I'm watching this race, and yeah, very grateful that Vivek, Tim Scott, all these people are endorsing him. I do wonder who Trump is going to pick for VP. It's been kind of interesting. Megyn Kelly on her podcast, she's like, there's a woman that I have in mind that I really think it's going to be her, but I'm not going to say it. And she was saying like, no, she doesn't think it's Kristi Noem, which I hope it's not Kristi Noem because I think she's been having an extramarital affair with Trump's former campaign manager. And then but she does seem to be a good governor, so I will at least say that. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, no to her, and then Tulsi Gabbard, no to her. And so then, but she's saying some woman that's like low key and not talked about a lot in the press. And at first I was like, oh, well, Carrie Lake, but I'm like, Carrie Lake is talked a lot about in the press. Yeah, I wonder if you guys have any guesses on who his VP pick will be. I really would love to see them. It's so fun just like hearing people's theories and ideas. My dad, he was saying he doesn't think this is going to be it, but he thinks a great idea for a VP pick would be Larry Elder. And I think that is an excellent idea. I remember there was a woman that was running against a very liberal woman governor, and yeah, she seemed to be pretty popular as well. I just cannot remember. Yeah, I can't remember her name for the life of me. So there's a few people kind of going around in my mind. I do think that Trump isn't going to pick someone we expect. I think he'll be someone that's like just totally out of the blue. Think about Mike Pence. Was anyone expecting Mike Pence? No one was expecting Mike Pence. That was really shocking that he picked him. And then, like, what if he picked Mike Pence again? That would be so funny. That would be absolutely insane. And I really hope he doesn't do that because, yeah, I think we've seen Mike Pence's true loyalties, regardless of what you think about him. He might pick me. I don't know. Yeah, duty is duty. If I need to serve my country in that way, I guess I'll do it. Trump, I'm sold on the idea. I'll be VP. I don't know. It doesn't seem like if someone's like really politically aspirational, it doesn't seem like it's the best gig for them. It just doesn't seem to ever go super, super well for them. Unless you're Joe Biden. Then it went really well. But yeah, otherwise, it's not super great. So I don't know. I don't think it's Ron DeSantis. I don't. I really don't. I don't think Ron DeSantis. I think he's just like, I'm good. I'm done. I've gone in this presidential campaigning stuff. I think I'm good for now. And then it was also interesting because Tim Scott, he recently got married at like the age, I think he's like 58, and then his wife is like 47. I could be slightly off on that by a few years on each age, but that is interesting. It almost makes you think, is he doing that in preparation to be VP? Because if you think about it, typically politicians, they always have a spouse with them. And it's kind of weird if they don't. It always looks off. And so, yeah, I wonder what his motives were with all of that. I don't know what his motives were, but yeah. Okay, so let's go to the Bible verse. It's Genesis. Okay, so it's Genesis 39. And he's kind of focusing on the story of Joseph, which is always such a great story because it's such a redemption story. Like, someone makes a mistake. Joseph makes a mistake of just telling his brothers, like, hey, I'm going to be in this, like, so-and-so place, and you guys will be bowing down and serving me. And then it creates jealousy amongst the brothers. Joseph is obviously the favorite of his father. His brothers take the opportunity to sell him into slavery, which, like, man, I've been mad at my siblings before, but that's another level, if you know what I mean. And then he's a slave to this guy named Potiphar, and then this guy really likes him, and so he has Joseph taking care of like everything in his house. And then, Joseph is a good looking guy is what the Bible says. It says Joseph was handsome in form and appearance. So it's got to be true. And then the master's wife, she's been lusting after Joseph. She's like, hey, this slave is pretty hot. And she's like, hey, lie with me now. Which, isn't that interesting? Lie with me, and then he would have to lie with her about whether or not he did that if the master ever asked. So double meaning on that, lie with me. But in verse 8, then he refused. He says, look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has committed all that he has to my hand. There is no one greater in this house than I, nor has he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Now, I thought that was very interesting. Because, he could have said several different things to her. Like, if you notice, like, the way that you reject a person who's making, like, advances at you, there's a way that you reject it where it's obvious that you were being tempted or that you were in no way being tempted. But once again, you're rejecting either way. And the way that Joseph is rejecting her, you could say, well, he needs to be polite because it's a master's wife, blah, blah, blah. But no, I think he wanted to. I think his flesh, because he's just like, hey, I can't do this. I can't do this. It would be a great wickedness. I can't. It's not like, no, like, ew, no, I'm never going to do that. And I know they would never like have that kind of language in the Bible, but there's the way he's rejecting her. I really do. It's a theory, I know. And it's like, how do you know anything? I don't know anything, but it's just kind of fun to speculate. I think he would have loved to have said yes if he could live within his flesh. But he knows, and he's so wise, he knows that if you make a wrong decision, the guilt and the shame that comes with it and the consequences of sin is so much greater than the pleasure that would have been derived in quickly lying down with her and having, intimacy, that they should not. It's not worth it. And I love his approach because she grabs his garment and he runs away from her. And, it's obvious we should run away from sin. But no, he literally runs away. He has to get away. It's so hard. It's so hard to run away from sin. Now, it seems easier whenever it's like, this person's trying to sleep with me, I ran away. That almost seems easier than just like, I didn't gossip in that moment, Like, that's so much harder. Or my friend said she was really fat and asked if I thought that she looked fat in that dress. Like, you're probably going to tell the white lie, but a white lie, it doesn't matter what color it is. It's a lie and it's a sin. And so we know what sin is. We know the power of sin. Are we always running away from it? The answer for me is I have so much to repent for. I don't always run away from sin. Sometimes the bigger stuff, my point in all this, sometimes the bigger stuff is easier to run away from than the smaller stuff. I'll even say to my parents sometimes, they're like, oh, don't do that or don't do that. And I'm like, hey, at least I'm not like getting drunk every night. Hey, at least I'm not like running off with a guy. And I always say stuff like that. Basically just like me not doing these so quote unquote big sins makes my smaller stuff okay, but it doesn't, because God doesn't see it that way. God was with Joseph. And once again, he started from, pretty wealthy family, the favorite of all the sons. There were so many sons. And he goes to being a literal slave, and he makes the most of that situation. And then after that, of course, because basically the master's wife claimed that he raped her or whatever, or tried to violate her or whatever, he was put in prison. So then he's back in a low place. And he still makes the most of it. And then the prison guard trusts him with every responsibility. That he has an amazing spirit of contentment. Joseph did. That is something that I really could learn from. Being happy wherever you are. Even like occupations, if you think about that. Like, how happy would you be if you were CEO of a major corporation versus you are a janitor at a high school? But both jobs are important. Both jobs are needed. If we don't have a CEO, a company will fall. If we don't have people cleaning a high school, the high school will be disgusting. People maybe won't end up wanting to go. People will get sick. Both are so important. We need people to fill those roles. But will you be happy doing either one? Is your foundation built upon the rock or upon the sand? And so often, I think the answer is the sand for people like me. So lots of teachable moments. But I was reading this passage about Joseph, and it was just so, I felt important that I didn't want to pass up the opportunity to share about it. So, but yeah. You guys are awesome. I hope you know that. If someone's telling you differently, bring them on my way. Because, we can have a nice little talk here. Once again, I know I'm talking a lot about the weather, but it's just been so insane lately. It was like a monsoon where I live, and I'm wearing these large rain boots, and I happen to like the way they look. They're black and shiny. They go almost all the way up to my knees, and every time I wear them, someone's got to make some derogatory comment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I about to have to take this boot off and boot you? Like, what are we going to have to do? I guess haters be jealous. Where's that verse? That's a good verse. Haters be jealous. Just kidding. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Oh, gosh. Well, no matter what happens in politics, we can stay cool, calm, and collected. One day, I want to meet Nikki Haley. I want to give her a nice, firm handshake. But I'm not good at that stuff. I don't give firm handshakes. My hand just gets weak. You know, isn't that the worst? It shows like no confidence. I remember one time years ago, I met this like football player and I shook his hand, and I am not kidding. It was like this. His hand went like weak like this, and I was just like shaking it like that. It was so odd. I don't know why it was like that, but you know, it is what it is. If you guys want a recommendation, I do recommend watching, I think I've mentioned it before, but they came out with another season, so I have to say it again. The Netflix documentary Breakpoint, and it's about tennis. Oh, and they like follow the players and like, you know, the details of their lives and stuff. Yeah, it makes me like so much more interested in tennis. Of course, I'm not going to sit through a whole match. I will not do that. I guess if it was in person, yeah, I probably would. But I'm like, you see celebrities at those things. They're not easy to get into. So it's like, I could want to however much I feel like, and it's not really going to matter, you know, at all. So, man. I've been drinking a lot of Starbucks drinks, and yeah, it tastes good, but my gosh, I realized on the app whenever you're ordering, you can scroll down to the bottom and you can see the amount of sugar, calories, all that kind of stuff. And I've been getting this same drink several times, you guys. 64 grams. 64 grams of sugar. Yeah, that woke me up. I wasn't happy with that. I didn't realize if you scroll to the bottom you could see all that. So, oh my gosh, it's worse than most sodas. It's honestly worse. Why are they doing that? Why are they putting so much sugar? They don't need to. Also, have you ever heard of a thing called stevia? I like stevia sugar. I really do. But yeah, you get these Starbucks drinks and you can get buy one, get one. And so then it's nice. It's really nice. But yeah, I decided I'm going to have to stick with drinks that are 30 grams or less, because I just can't. And even that's not good, but it's better, you know? So I remember I tried a couple Dutch Bros drinks and I was looking at their sugar. I remember, I'm not kidding you guys, I saw a drink that was like 125 grams of sugar. That, man. I remember another time. This is slightly different than a drink, it's a dessert, but it was Cracker Barrel. And there was this, they don't have it anymore, but it was like this like apple dumpling thing or whatever. And it was, you know, it was a decent size like dish, but not crazy big, you guys. Like seriously, not too bad. And I finally just decided to look up the nutritional content. 3,000 something calories. It scared me. When I saw that, that scared me. That was like another level. Yeah. Nutrition's so important. I'm not great at it. I'm really not, but you know, I think there's some things that you got to avoid. Yeah. Like I even know tonight my sister, she's coming, you know, back with what I think it was crumble cookies, and what was one of them, a cannoli cookie. That sounds amazing. Like why would you not want to try that? A cannoli cookie. So, you know, if it's good, maybe I'll remember to tell you guys and let you know. Then they also came out with these cinnamon squares. But my friend, she was trying to get one, and basically they said that it was at the time, they said that they couldn't make those because they couldn't figure out how to cook it to where the middle of it wouldn't be completely raw. And I even saw on Instagram comments that it was like so raw. So yeah, that was interesting. You know, in my mind, I'm just like, okay, just cut that sucker up in 4 pieces, put it in the oven, and then maybe it'll get cooked. But yeah, crumble cookies, those do a number on me. I don't know if you guys like them, and yeah, feel free to even comment, or at least tell me, email me, whatever you want, your favorite flavor of crumble, because if it's good enough, I'll make the effort to go, or my sister will, and then we usually try it, but it's so much sugar. But there was one that was like dulce de leche, or no, it was tres leches. What's the difference? What's the difference? I don't even know the difference. That one was very powerfully good. There was also a cinnamon one, a cinnamon roll one. Oof, that was good too. And then I've tried a bunch of them. There was a key lime pie. I love key lime pie, but it wasn't great. Apparently, I think the company is Mormon. And if you notice, they don't ever do any type of flavor that is with coffee or teas, because that's not something that they partake of. So if you ever notice that, I do wish they did though. Like obviously I don't want them to like go against their religious views, but like can you imagine like a coffee cookie? Oof. Oof. I'm rambling now. I have an issue with that. I'm sorry, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. I would think you did if you got to this point, but you guys are wonderful and dedicated, good looking people, and you're also really strong fighters. So if anyone's coming at you, if anyone is coming at you with a switchblade, I want you to fight back. So yeah, just do that, okay? Don't let anyone stop you. All right, you guys. You're wonderful. Have a great day.